We have some more breaking news that's coming in. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar talks tough on hypocrisy of the West. EM S. Jaishankar has slammed Western hypocrisy, saying the West is encouraging non-democratic forces. S. Jaishankar also says the West doesn't practice what it preaches in the global South. His comments at the 2025 Munich Security Conference.
Every country has its mainstream politics. It has its outliers. Okay. If I were to look, for example, at how much Europeans, Westerners reach out to outliers in those societies. If I were to look at what do Western ambassadors do in India, if my ambassadors did a fraction of that, you would all be up in arms. So I think there are double standards here. I would argue that in many ways, India, because it's historically been an open society, one very much linked with the world, many countries of the global South are more likely to say the Indian experience is more transposable to their societies than perhaps those of others. So I do think in our progress as a democracy, the fact that, for all the challenges that we've had, even at a low income, we have stayed true to the democratic model, which is almost, if you look at our part of the world, we are pretty much the only country that has done that. So I think it's something the West should look at, because if you do want democracy eventually to prevail, it's important the West also embraces successful models outside the West.
My colleague Gaurav Sawant is joining us on the phone line for more details on this. Gaurav, who do you think the External Affairs Minister's comments are aimed at? Are they aimed at the previous Biden administration when he's talking tough, hitting out at the Western hypocrisy?
Chetna, this is a very, very strong statement that comes from the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, as he exposes multiple Western democracies for interfering in India's internal affairs, and also these so-called rating organizations, VDEM, for example, and several others that issue certification on democracies and happiness index and progress, where it's so full of hypocrisy that he's exposed. He said those leaders, they haven't been elected, and yet they preach to genuine democracies like India. And also, Western administrations that you alluded to about the various ambassadors in the past who interfere not just in India's internal affairs, but issue sermons and in a way are directly interfering the people they engage with, the people they interact with, and the kind of statements that they make, which amounts to interfering in India's internal affairs. And taking sides which they are not expected to do. And Foreign Minister Jaishankar very clearly said that in case Indian ambassadors were to do even a fraction of this in Western democracies, they would be held to buy. So he's actually telling them to adopt what is more successful, which is a genuine democracy like India, which is what developing countries are doing. And Chetna, he's one of the foreign leaders who hit out at this interference. Also, look at what J.D. Vance, the U.S. Vice President, said at the Munich Security Council. He's hit out at Europe and what's happening in Europe, and that those who call themselves liberal are indeed very illiberal. He's hit out at the number of illegal immigrants who are coming into Europe, the way they are behaving there, the way European so-called liberal leaders are cancelling elections, like in Romania, or silencing free speech in the name of hate speech. So perhaps Europe and West are being advised to look within and sort themselves out as the world goes through this flux, Chetna.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gaurav, for bringing us those details on that story.